Welcome again to Devtoberfest. Today is a little bit bittersweet in that it is the last day of Tooling Tuesday for Devtoberfest 2024. But on the other hand, we have 4 amazing sessions today, 2 about AI, including this one about an important new feature in process automation, and another one about business rules and how a partner made use of business rules in process automation. Since we're coming close to the end of Devtoberfest, I wanted to remind you to complete all of your activities and for the contest and the grand prize. And 2 important activities that you should do is the SAP crossword puzzle that I put together, and it's worth 1,800 points, and the session questions for today's sessions worth 1,200 points, altogether 3,000 points, a long way towards Nerdvana. So I wish you good luck in the contest. Now I'd like to introduce today's session. So today's session is quite special because of 2 reasons. First, the topic. It is about AI Core and Build Apps and a mashup. It is something that many, many people are interested in. Many people have even written partial blogs about how to do it or about what they've done with it. But today we're going to go in depth and show you step by step how to put that together. And the second reason it's a special session is because the 2 presenters are colleagues of mine who I've worked closely with for the past year, and of course have helped me all through that time and have agreed to put on the session for today about AI Core and Build Apps. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Srini and Rekha to present.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel, for that wonderful introduction. Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. A warm welcome to you all for this session of chatbot development made easy with the SAP AI Core and SAP Build Apps. Thank you all for joining us live. As Daniel mentioned, I'm Rekha, and I welcome you to the session. So now let's get started with the session. I'll just share my screen. Okay, here is the session outline. First, I will introduce the chatbot app to you all. Then we'll see what is SAP Build Apps, what is Generative AI Hub, what is AI Core. Using all these elements or components, the chatbot has been built. And we'll see how SAP Build Apps is integrated with Generative AI Hub and architecture design of the chatbot. Then we'll understand what is AI prompt engineering and what are the key capabilities of the chatbot. At the end, the most awaited session, we'll see a step-by-step
Rekha,
building
are you sharing the slides?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, at the end, we'll see a live demo, a step-by-step approach to building the chatbot app by Shrinivasan.
For some reason, I'm not able to see the slides. Can you share again?
It's being shared. Okay, let me check once again.
Yeah, now I can see.
Okay. No worries. So here is the session outline. First, we'll introduce the chatbot, and then we'll see what is SAP Build Apps, what is Generative AI Hub and AI Core using which the chatbot is built. We'll see how the components are integrated and the architecture design of the chatbot. We'll see what is AI prompt engineering and the key capabilities of the chatbot. Then we'll see a live demo of step-by-step approach to build the chatbot by Shrinivasan. On the right-hand side, you can see how the chatbot looks on a mobile device. The user experience, the design looks amazing, intuitive, and easy to use by the end users. So the user interface is built using SAP Build Apps. The front end is built using SAP Build Apps, and also it is integrated with SAP AI Core. So we'll see what all those things at the end. This app works as both web as well as mobile app. As a web app, you can run in your browser. As a mobile app, you can run it on both iOS and Android platforms. The crucial thing to note here is you don't need to have different code lines for different platforms. It's single code line and cross platform compatible. Coming to the real life use cases, it can be put into work in education, healthcare, finance, and customer service industries in order to boost productivity and also the operational efficiency. If you wonder how, then we'll see at the key capabilities of the chatbot, that time we understand it. Yeah. So coming to what is SAP Build Apps. SAP Build Apps is a low-code, no-code tool under SAP Build Solution portfolio. Using SAP Build Apps, you can quickly create mobile and web applications. You don't need any coding skills to build the application. That is amazing. You use just drag and drop simplicity. You will be dragging and dropping the UI components and building the front end. This SAP Build App support integration with SAP as well as non-SAP backends. Coming to what is SAP Generative AI Hub. Generative AI Hub provides you instant access to a wide range of large language models. This Generative AI Hub is spread across two key components, SAP AI Core and SAP AI Launchpad. You can think AI Core as a runtime and SAP AI Launchpad as the front end in order to access the SAP AI Core. The Generative AI Hub components are spread across these two key components. If you see in the Launchpad, in the Launchpad, it offers developer tool sets like Playground, prompt engineering, prompt management in order to access the generative AI capabilities. In the AI Core, you see the trust and control for security and data privacy, and also some grounding techniques can be applied there. And the important thing that matters for the chatbot app is the foundation model access. The Generative AI Hub provides foundation model access to SAP built LLMs, custom LLMs, partner built LLMs. In our chatbot case, we are using the partner built LLM by Microsoft Azure OpenAI. The model what we are using is GPT 3.5 Turbo. This is the LLM which is being used. Yeah, and coming to what is AI Core, yeah, it is a engine to execute and operate the AI scenarios, and also the foundation models that serves the AI workloads. You can see in the architecture diagram. So it offers the generative AI capabilities via SAP AI Launchpad. Here you can see it. Yeah, and here you can build, deploy, and manage AI workloads and also integrate with other SAP application. In our case, the chatbot. Yeah, and here is the integration part. SAP Build Apps is integrated with the SAP AI Core. In between comes the destination. The destination is the component which is connecting the Build Apps and AI Core. As mentioned, SAP Build Apps is used to build the chatbot UI. It works as both the mobile and web app. Uh, Now it is acting as a client in order to access the generative AI hub language model, large language model. In the destination is a component in the SAP BTP cockpit where you will provide the RP URL, the service RP URL, user credentials like ID, password, and also you do add some additional attributes in order to enable the AI core access in SAP Build Apps. These all settings will be done in destinations. In the demo, we'll see how it is done. And AI core, yeah, I have already explained about the AI core. It acts as a runtime for the AI workloads. And if you would like to try the generative AI hub capability, it is not available in the free trial account, but it is available in the free tier account, and other commercial models. When you subscribe to a free tier account, you have to go with the extended service plan in order to use the generative AI capabilities of AI Core and also the AI Launchpad. Okay, so we'll see what is prompt engineering. You might have heard about this over and over. Prompt engineering is a way to communicate with the generative AI models efficiently. What we have to do, we have to provide clear and concise expression of our thoughts as natural language. For example, in English, instructions or inputs to the chatbot in detail. This is called prompt. The input what we provide in the natural language, this is called prompt. For example, write me a step-by-step guide for asking pay raise at work. Make it sound formal. This is a prompt. I'm quite sure this will be your favorite prompt. It's mine too. And once you provide the prompt to the model, it comes back with a contextually relevant response. This is the basic understanding what we need to have about prompt engineering. And coming to the key capabilities of chatbot, what all we can do, we can ask questions and it comes back with answers. It's pretty straightforward, and it supports multilingual support. It has multilingual support. It supports over 100 language translations, and grammatic correction. If you provide a block of text with grammatic errors, then it comes back with the correct grammar. Summarize the context. If you provide a huge context, then if you ask it to summarize in 10 points, it can do that. And expand a context. If you give a brief context and ask it to expand to provide the more context, then it can elaborate on the given context. And sentiment analysis. For example, in the customer service industry, if you want to analyze if a statement or review is positive or negative, we can do so using the sentiment analysis. And zero shot and few shot prompting techniques. It supports this. We'll see what is zero shot and few shot prompting. Zero shot is very simple, straightforward question or task we will be providing in the input prompt, and we're not giving any additional information. So the model will come back with a response based on its pre-trained data. For example, what is a planet? That is the prompt, and it comes back with a straightforward answer. This is called zero-shot prompting. Coming to few-shot prompting, the input prompt contains examples or patterns of what kind of response you're expecting from the model. So depending on the pattern or the demonstrations or examples what you're providing in the input, the model learns from it and produce the response. For example, if Earth is a planet, then Sun is a, if you give this prompt, then it comes back with if Earth is a planet, then Sun is a star. So it will study the pattern, it will learn from it, and then gives back the response. So if you ask which is more efficient, few short prompting comes up with the most accurate result, because you will be training the model on how you want the response. Yeah. This is about the presentation. If you are enjoying the session so far, then I would like to request, do consider subscribing to this channel. This is our Developer Advocates YouTube channel for more such sessions, and also whenever we upload videos, you will be getting notification to watch the video. So do support us. And now I would like to hand over to Shrinivasan for the step-by-step demo. Thank you.
Thanks, Rekha. Hello, everybody. First, let me share my screen, and then let's see a demo first, and then we can go into the detailed steps involved in building a chatbot. I hope you're able to see my screen now. Let me share my phone, because I want to do a demo on my phone. Okay. So launching the application. This is the application that Rekha was explaining earlier. The UI of this chatbot is built with Build Apps, and it connects to Generative AI Hub on the back end. And we did a demo and a high-level presentation of the steps involved in creating a chatbot solution at TechEd Virtual earlier this month. So now let's go into the demo. We can use this chatbot for Q&A or translation. Today we will use it for code generation. Okay, let's see an example. Write a JavaScript function to do recursion. Okay, so we can see that we are able to connect to the generative AI hub at the back end. It is giving us a recursive function example where we have a base condition and a function that calls itself. Okay, now let's ask another question. Convert this code to a one-liner. So the above code has been converted into a one-line code, as you can see here. What this tells us is we can connect to the generative AI hub in the backend, and whenever we send a command to the generative AI hub, each command is a unique command, right? So there is no connection between the second question and the first question, but we will be able to send the context when we make a request, and we can get a contextually relevant response. That is why you see it is able to understand that the previous response was about a recursive function, and it is using the same function and converting it to a one-liner code, right? So we'll see how to build such a chatbot, and we'll also see the logic that is involved in how we send the context to it, and how the generative AI understands the question because it has the context and sends us a relevant response. So we'll start with BTP cockpit. So I'm on my BTP cockpit, and you can see that I have subscribed to SAP AI Launchpad, SAP Build Apps, I have created an instance of AI Core. All these three services can be enabled via boosters. So I'm on my on a sub account created under a global account. And if you go to global account and look up under boosters, you will see a Launchpad AI Core. For simplicity, I have already set up my environment with the AI Launchpad, AI Core, and Build Apps. If you search for Launchpad here, you can see there is a booster available. There is a booster available for Core, and there is a booster available for Build Apps. So I'm on my free tier account. If you remember, Rekha mentioned about that AI Core is available on free tier or on standard or paid plans. Right now, let's go back to the sub account. So we have subscribed to AI Launchpad, Build Apps, and created an instance of AI Core. And after we create an instance of AI Core, in order to connect to it, we have to create a service key, which I have already created here, right? And then we'll be able to connect to this AI Core instance from any client. We can connect via Postman, or we can connect via Python SDK, or AI Core extension available in VS Code, or in our case, we'll be using SAP Build Apps to connect to this AI Core runtime. Okay, now let's go to the Launchpad. So here in the Launchpad, as the first step, we have to again create a connection to the AI Launchpad access the client. So we have to create a connection to the AI Core. Here, the information that you see here is coming from the service key that we created earlier for AI Core instance. I have already created a connection, and I also have a workspace called default. We'll need this information while we create a BTP destination. So once you subscribe to AI Launchpad and you have sufficient role collections, you will be able to see these tabs: Generative AI Hub, SAP AI Core Administration, ML Operations. We'll be using ML Operations tab today. And let's go to scenarios. Under scenarios, we'll see that we have foundational models, right? Foundation models are pre-configured scenarios that are made available by SAP. And there are multiple executables under these foundation models. And you will get this foundation model only if you have subscribed to the extended service plan of AI Core. You can see here in BTP Cockpit, this is the extended service plan that I have subscribed to. That's why I'm able to see the foundation model. Now, as the next step, we have to create a configuration where we'll be choosing which model we'll be using today. So let's give a configuration name. We can give Gen AI Hub. We can choose the scenario. We'll be choosing the foundation models. We can choose this version. And for executable, today we'll choose Azure OpenAI.
Shrinivasan, I have a question here. Now we are using the partner supplied large language model. Can we also build our own custom large language model and query from the chatbot?
Yes, you will be able to use your custom machine learning models, train them and serve them, and make it available in the scenarios. I can provide at the end of my demo, I can provide links to, there are already our Devtoberfest sessions available on this topic. So I can provide links to the video.
Okay, thank you.
So in the configuration parameters, I am choosing GPT 3.5 Turbo, choosing the model version as latest. I'm keeping it default, but you can choose the different models and versions that you like, right? And let's create the configuration now. This happens instantly. And then as the next step, we have to create something called deployment. In the deployment, you can choose standard duration or you can choose a custom duration, which means that after the activity that you want to perform is over, if you want to shut this deployment down, you can do it by configuring a custom duration. But for now, we'll go with the standard option. Okay, so now we want a current status here to be running. We want to see a URL here. This might take a couple of minutes because a container is being created in the AI Core instance, and then the models are getting deployed. So it will take a couple of minutes. So we can go to BTP cockpit and we can start creating a destination. Destination allows us to connect Build Apps and Generative AI Hub. So we'll create a new destination. We'll give it a name. So the information that we need to provide here is also coming from the service key that we created earlier for AI, right? So I have the service key open. I'm going to pick the API URL from there and add it and add it to the URL. And since we'll be using the V2 version of the endpoint, we'll give V2 here. And for the proxy type, we can leave it internet. Here we'll choose OAuth to client credentials. For this, we need a client ID and client secret. And within the service key, you will find a URL field, which you will be providing here as the token service URL and appending OAuth hyphen slash token here. Okay. I'll be at the end of this demo, I will also be providing a GitHub page which has, step-by-step instructions on how to create a destination. So don't worry about it. And also you can watch this recording on the same URL even after the demo today. So we need to now set up some additional properties. So in order for the build apps to recognize it, and also the AI core needs some additional headers to be passed to it. So let me take the additional properties. So we need an additional property called app giver enabled. We'll set it to true. HTML5 dynamic destination to true. URL headers AI resource group. So this is the workspace information that I showed you earlier. We chose the workspace as default, so we'll provide that information here. And we'll choose the content type as application/JSON. Okay, now we have the destination. Now let's go back and check if we have the deployment running. Okay, looks good. So the current status of deployment is running and we got a URL. This is the URL that we'll be using to query the AI model along with the payload. So let's copy this URL and add it here. We'll be using it later. So up to V2, we have provided it in the destination. So this should be a relative URL that will provide it later while we create a data entity. And let's go back. Now we have the AI Launchpad deployment URL available. We have the destinations. Now let's move on to build apps. So let's create a new project. So we'll choose build an application, SAP Build Apps. We'll choose web and mobile application. And we can say Gen AI Chatbot. You can give any name here. So it will open a brand new project with a placeholder text, and we can see that there are some UI controls on the left hand side. You can drag and drop the UI controls of your choice over to the canvas, and you can modify the properties, style, and layout of the UI components. So let's delete these elements that we don't need for the chatbot, and drag a large image list item onto the canvas. So here I want to modify it a little bit so that I want to show an icon instead of an image. So in order to do that, I will have to go to the component editor, and then I'll remove this image and drag an icon to it. And then let's exit. Now we need an input field to capture the user inputs. So let's add an input field. We can make the label empty. We don't need a label here. And then we need a button to submit the user input. Let's change the button label. Okay. So we have some kind of a UI in place. We'll come back to this later. As the next step, we have to create a data entity in order to connect to the Generative AI Hub. So let's go to the integrations tab. And if you remember, we created a BTP destination, right? So we'll have to choose this option, BTP destination REST API integration. And here we can give any name here, Gen AI data entity. And then we can choose that this is the destination that we created from BTP cockpit. And since we provided the additional properties, it is appearing here. And then the AI model that we are going to query needs the input in a specific format. The format is it needs a list of objects. So let's create a list of objects. So first, messages is the name of the list of objects. And then we'll add two properties to it. One is role. Another one is content, which is also a text. Okay. So now we have to enable the create method because we want to make a post call to the generative AI hub, because we need to also pass the additional parameters, right? So this Gen AI destination has the partial URL. So we have to supply the rest of the URL. So let's construct the URL. We have saved part of the URL here, but we need additional path, because we have to hit endpoint called chat completions. That is the API endpoint that we need to hit in order to query the AI model. So let's give that as a static text here. And then let's test to see if we are able to make a connection. Here we'll user role as user. We can say explain SAP BTP in 100 words. This is just a sample. We can give any query here. We are just testing to see if you're getting a response. It's taking a while today. Sometimes it is fast. So while this is running, we can actually go and do some of the other steps that we need in our project. So let's go back to our project again and create some variables. So we have UI elements here. We need to have variables which will bind to these UI elements, and yeah, that's why we'll create few variables here. So I'll create an app variable here, which will again be a list of objects. And it will contain a role and content as properties. We can remove the ID field. We don't need the ID field here. We'll create a page variable to capture and save the user input. We'll name it as input. The data type will be text. And save this. Let's go back and check if we have received a response. Looks like there is some delay in the network. So we have to try this again. Okay. So this time we got the response since we see 200 OK here, and let's check the response here. So we see that it has given us an answer. SAP BTP platform is an integrated platform that provides a range of technology services. Okay, looks good. So, and if you notice here, the role is coming as assistant. Any response that Generative AI Hub is giving provides the role as assistant. We can use this information later, but for now, let's save the schema. So the response comes in a specific format. We have to save this schema from the response. Then when we do the data binding, we can map or bind the UI elements to the fields that are present in the response, because we are saving the schema as response. Okay. So once we do that, we should save the data entity. Now let's check if we see the schema. Yeah, we see the new schema here. So looks good. Let's save it again, the project. Let's go back to the UI canvas. We have to create one more variable called data variable. The data variable will create using the data entity that we already created, and we'll save the defaults as it is. If you see the logic of the data variable, when does this logic gets executed, right? When the page mount event happens, a call is made to the generative AI hub backend. All the records are retrieved and it is set onto the data variable. Let's save this as well and go back to the view. Now we'll do some data binding here. So click on the large image list item, and then we will bind it to the app variable history we already created. we'll bind the and one more thing, like a couple of more things we have to do here. We have bound the list to the app variable history. Now we have to bind the items within it. So the title and the description also needs to be bound to the um, elements within the app variable history. So let's do some more binding. Once you bind the outer element, the large image list item to app variable history, you will see this data item and repeat. And let's choose for the title, we'll show the role. And for the description, we'll show the content. Okay, and then we'll bind this input field to the page variable input. And then we have to add some logic to this send button. So we'll bring up the logic canvas, and then first, as the first step, we have to set the app variable. When this button is clicked, we have to set the app variable. Let's see what we do here. Let's connect the component tab with setting app variable. Now we have to we'll have to take the user input and then add it to the app variable history. We'll use a formula to do that. So I have a formula called with underscore item. And what we are doing here is this formula, if you see the documentation here, it takes a list and it takes a item that you want to append to the list. If the list is a integer, it contains integers, you have to supply an integer. If the list contains a string, you have to supply a string. And in our case, since this app variable history is a list of objects, we have to supply the user input in the form of an object. And we created this app variable history as a list of objects because we want to send this app variable to the generative AI hub, which expects the input to be in the form of list of objects. Okay, now we have not added the full functionality, but we can, at this point of time, we can test the application to see what it is doing. We are looking at the web preview earlier. The demo I showed was on mobile device. Now we are looking at the web preview. So we can ask a different question, write a sample JavaScript function. So at this point of time, we have taken the user input and appended to the app variable history. And since the app variable history is already bound to the large image list item, you see it instantly reflected on the screen. But nothing happens, nothing has happened because we have not added further logic. Let's add the logic of sending the user input to the backend and then retrieving the response, showing the response on the UI, and then let's see what further processing is required. So going back to the UI canvas, if you remember when we created the data entity, we enabled the create method, right? So here also we have to use the create record function because we are making a post call to the generative AI hub. And then here we can provide a formula. And the formula will be something, bare minimum that we need to get the response. We can make this, input better so that we get fine-grained results. But this is the basic information that the generative AI hub needs. So if you see here, we are sending the app variable history, which initially contains the user response. Later, we'll see what gets appended to it. Okay. Now, as the next step, we have to again set the app variable. but this time, and then this time we'll use a same with underscore item formula, but in now we'll use the response from the backend. So if you see here, now we are taking the role and content from the output of create record. Output of create record is a choices array which contains message, and message contains role and content. So we get the response from the generative AI hub. We again append it to the app variable history using with underscore item formula. And then as the last step, we can set the page variable to empty so that the input that the user typed is cleared after we get the response. We can set it as a blank value and then save the changes. Again, we can, at this point of time, looks like we have all the functionality that we need. So let's test it again.
One more question, Srinivasan. You have talked about app variable and page variable. Could you tell the difference between between these two types of variables?
Yeah. So you typically, when we build an application, the application contains multiple pages, right? And if you want to use a variable across multiple pages, you will create an app variable. App variable has a global context, so it can be used in multiple pages. Page variable has a local scope, so it is confined, the scope is confined to the particular page in which it is created. In that case, you will create a page variable if you want to uh, use a variable only in one page. And if for a single page application, it really doesn't matter. Both app variable and page variable can be used for a single page application. But if you want to, let's say we create this chat list, right? The history. If you want to display this history on another page, we and in a multiple page application, we could use an app variable for that. Yeah.
Okay,
If
thank
that
you.
answers. So now let's see what happens if we ask a question. Okay, good. So we are getting a response. It is able to understand our question, return a response. It's all good. What else we want to do here? We can further enhance the UI to make it better. So let's go back to the UI canvas. So what I want to do is I want to change the page background. So in order to do that, I'll click on the page layout element, and then I can go to the style tab and choose a different background color than what is displayed here. There are default options available here, and but in my case, I want to use a custom color. In that case, I'll be going to the new palette, and then I have a hex code for charcoal black. That is the color I want to use as the background. So I'll use that color here and give it a name. What other changes could we do here? We can change the icon to appear differently so that when user types an input, we show one icon, and if the bot responds, we show a different icon. So let's do that. So in order to do that, I have to click on the large image list item, go to the component editor, and then I choose the icon. From here, there is an option to provide formula. So we'll use that option, and then I have a formula already prepared. So let's see what this formula does, right? It checks each row element and then to see if its role is user. If the role is user, it will show the user icon. Otherwise, it will show the Android icon. When the bot responds, the role comes as assistant. So the first condition will not match it, and it will go to the Android option. And then here there is a icon to show preview. You can change the icon. You can choose any icon here. Let's choose some other icon. For example, yeah, let's choose a check icon just to show you the different icons that we can choose, right? And then exit. There is one more change we could do before we test this app again. So when you saw the demo, when we tested it, you saw that all the cards, all the row items were returning of the same color, right? But we want to show different colors for the user typed input versus the bot response. In order to do that, let's go to the style tab, edit the default style, and we'll use a formula again here. We'll choose the color here, go to the new palette. We'll go to the formula option available here. And then I already have a formula which I'll use. And if you see here, again, we are doing a similar logic that we did for the icon. We are checking the current role. If it's user, we choose a background color. If it is assistant, we choose a different background color. And then if you want to apply, there are a lot of options available here. But if you want to apply a, you know, round border radius, which is circular, you can choose this option. If you want to choose a thick border, if you want to show no border, all the options are available here. And then you can save all these changes as a new style, because you don't want to overwrite the default large image list item, because we can reuse the large image list for other purposes, and we can save this as a custom style. Here we can give any name. I will give it a large icon list item, because it's we have replaced the image with the icon. Okay, now let's save it and then let's test it again. Okay, so we got all the things that we wanted. We have a new background for the page. We have icons, user icon showing for the user input, bot, Android icon showing for a bot response. And we see the background color is different. So it all looks good. And yeah, that's what I wanted to show as a part of demo today. And one more thing I want to highlight here is like with the ability to connect to AI, SAP AI, Generative AI Hub, you can create different kinds of application according to your requirements. You need not create always a chatbot application. You can have small pieces of functionality on your application that requires AI, and you can, since you are able to, you know how to connect to the generative AI hub from Build Apps, you could utilize all these capabilities now. And also the same chatbot, now we use this chatbot for code generation, but you could modify the prompts and you could use it as a language translator, or you could also send prompts such that it works as a customer service representative, and it answers question only relevant to your domain and not random. It won't answer if you ask a random question and things like that. You could all do this with custom prompts.
I have two questions here, Shrinivasan. So far, the app looks great and it's getting the response
Mhm.
from the AI core. If the response is not written, if there is some error, how to track it down?
Yeah, that's a good question. So what we could do is we could look at the logic here, logic that we added for the button, and this is in the create record function is where we connect to the generative AI hub. For any error that happens here, right? Um, in order to, if something happens here, you want to detect that something went wrong, right? So we can add an alert functionality. And if you see, this create record function has two outputs. The first output is the success output, and the second output you can use it for is to denote any failures. And then on the alert message, what you could do is you can choose create record, and then you can either print out the entire message which will contain the code message raw error, or you can just print the message error message. And if this fails for some reason, you will see an alert message pop up.
Okay, good. Looks good. And coming to making the chatbot specific to a task, like customize the chatbot, for example, for language translation, how can we customize the prompts?
Yeah, we can do that when we send the user input. Have uh, we are providing the user input here, right, which is stored in the page variable. Here you can customize it and add some prompts like this. For example, you are a let's say we want to use it for German translation, right? You are a
Mhm.
German translator. Give me all the responses in German.
Okay, so what the user inputs that will be concatenated with this and sent to
Yes.
the
And send
AI
to the
core
generative AI hub.
generative. Okay, yeah.
And then there is a chance, I mean, when you send this, it will also display on the UI. So in order to prevent that, what we
Mhm.
could do is when it prints this is the place where it will print the UI, right? The
Mhm.
prompt, right? So here again, we can, instead of, we can use a formula to check if the current repeated role is a user, then we can use this function replace all, and we can provide the text that we want to replace. We will copy the text from that we added there, and
Mhm.
then um, that is the original text and the slide. So you can look at the example here. In foo bar bars, we want to replace bar with bars, right? So
Mhm.
what we can do is we can take the original repeated dot current dot content, and then this will be the slice of text that you want to remove, and this will be then you will replace it with blank.
Okay.
Here we can input that you are a German translator, that text, for
Replace
example,
that text with blank. Okay.
with blank. And then uh, so this will display when the current role is user. Okay, sorry, current role is user. And then when it's bot, you don't have a prompt, right? Bot.
Mhm.
So again, you will print repeated dot current dot content, whatever comes, you will just print it. Here it should be role, because we are checking for the role. If it is
Mhm.
user, we want to replace the prompt. And if you're a bot, you want to just print it as it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any questions from the chat? Any questions from the audience?
Yeah, like a couple of questions is how to embed this chatbot into a website, or it could be, can this chatbot be embedded into a Fiori app?
This chatbot can be embedded on any site. what we have to do is we have to deploy this to Cloud Foundry. And then for that, you will go here. You will have to create, a configuration. You will do, this is a new approach of deploying into Cloud Foundry. This was released recently. So you can deploy it as a web application in Cloud Foundry, and then you will get a public URL. You can use that URL to embed into your site. Yeah.
Okay.
Or it can also be embedded as a Fiori tile
In work zone.
zone on work
Yeah.
zone. Yeah.
Yeah. Daniel has already replied yes. Yeah,
Yes.
that's all the questions. Any more questions, attendees? You could type in. We are closely monitoring the YouTube chat. We can answer from there.
And can we share the link to this GitHub report that I sent earlier?
Yes, we can share it in
Okay.
the chat, and also in the comment we can share so that it's also available.
Okay. Then I will stop sharing now if there are no more questions and hand it over to Daniel.
I think that was like really great. And for those who made it to the end, you got a special present where Srini shared basically the instructions to do it yourself on GitHub. So that link, Rekha can maybe put that link in the chat.
Sure.
I'm really glad you guys came, because people have been asking about this for a long time, to get really detailed instructions on how to put this thing together. I know AI has been around for a while, but I still find it amazing what you can do. Even at the beginning when you showed the JavaScript, I know it's a very simple example, but it's pretty impressive. Even now that we've been around AI for a while. So I really appreciate it. Anything else you want to add, Srini and Rekha?
Yeah, so following the instructions, the participants could build their own chatbot today if they have access to a free tier or a paid plan. That's all I had.
Very good. Okay, I just want to remind everybody to finish their activities for the contest for Devtoberfest, since Devtoberfest is coming to a conclusion soon. And we have another 3 sessions today. Again, the next one about business rules, another one about AI extending Joule, which I think everybody will be interested to see. And what was the last one? I forget the last one. Also, remember, there are other Devtoberfest sessions for the rest of the week, including on Thursday, where there'll be AI-related sessions. So it's worth checking those out. So have a great day, everybody, and hope to see you at the upcoming sessions. Take care.
Yeah, thank you,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.